Get 'em, Jimmy, where Lil Shaq at? The bottle's getting nippy up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, lead the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
Cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers, happy Wednesday, October 4th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. I love this slate. You guys know that we often have 30 games that we have to break down, and it takes a long time to do your due diligence and hard work. This time, we have 4 playoff games, wild card MLB action. We have 2 college football games this evening. And then just like we did last week, and it was quite successful with the Big Ragu, CMac and I are going to put out our college football best bets. And we'll have 5 bets just like last week. Last week I had 2, Ragu had 3. This week I have 2, and CMac has 3. So we're going to get right back to the well there, which means, we can deep dive and not be panicky about how long the show is going. Thank you guys all for joining us. Slow Jams Arsenal in the house. Armchair MMA said on the Rangers yesterday plus 140, probably hopping on them again today. Says can't back a team coming off 4 errors in 6 innings. Think the moment has just gotten them. Could see an over on Randy bases. A Rosa Reina. Here we go. Sammy Culmer, thank you for the well wishes, my friend. 44 years old today. And it feels good. It feels good. Life gets better. It gets better. I didn't know that was going to be the case. My 30s were pretty tough. My late 20s were really tough. My first half of my 20s was just magic. But it's just gotten better and better. And this is a big reason why, the opportunity to cap with you guys. So thank you very much for the kind words. Justin McElvey, Stacks play of the day. Trey Turner over 1.5 bases. And the Philadelphia Phillies, my only future action left. The only future pennant World Series action that I've made this year. And going to bet them every game. And tonight, I don't only get to... I've already bet it and sent it in, but I also get to bet it live with American funds at the Seneca in Niagara Falls, New York, which I'm very excited about. Stacks play today is Trey Turner. What a veteran group these Phillies have, man. They've been there, and they haven't got to the top of the heap, but they've been there in the toughest spots. I like them. I'm copied and pasted that right now. Justin McElvey, my guy. Armchair MMA coming off 5 in one day. Great job. Thank you for the kind words. Tim Montana, you're a good man. Thank you. Ramos, thank you, guys. I love it. Viper, thank you. Raymond, Clint, all you guys. It means an absolute ton. So thank you. Nut Flush Allen, thank you. And I gave you a birthday pick winner. Plus 117 for Skylar's birthday. Shout out to Skylar. She's the best of us. Justin McElvey. Okay, Justin McElvey, we'll get that back. We'll get that back for you, man. Those days happen. They just happen. North Ender, Jeffrey Moore, 5-1 yesterday. There's Jay Smooth, Serious Business, and Clint sharing his action on the Die Hard MMA podcast for UFC 80. Thank you, Clint, my friend. We'll copy and paste that right now. Copied and pasted. Slatsy, thank you. And please send my love to Tammy. Phillies today to celebrate. Yes. Wine time. Brett Kinney. Billy Friedrich. Thank you, guys. Joey Hard. Morgan Spooner. Ski Profit. I missed the salutes part. That was a different bag. That was in the old days, man. Now, have the family. Game's changed. Salutes no longer... They no longer play a massive role in my life, the Sleuths. Ski, it's great to see you, man. I know your season is fast approaching. Rodney M, Jay Peasy, Stimmy OG, Ron Crawford, Crystal Craig, Brian Watson, Brad Oliver, Von Polo, Darius Moore, Kelly McInnes, Mel, David Rodriguez, DC Capper, JR, Mark Sports Betting, The Real American, Rocco Rogers, Julian Cesario, King Al, Rants. Thank you, guys. Oh, and the spreadsheet play of the day is in. I fear this is the last day of the year that I will get to wear Blue Jays wares. And this very hat, was given to me by the Big Ragu. This is their hat that they rock in Dunedin, Florida for spring training. It's a spring training hat. He got it for me, and I wear it very proudly. Morgan Spooner here, locking in Diamondbacks, Philadelphia. Diamondbacks -1, Philadelphia -1. Waiting for lineups in Rangers game. Expect to bet the Rangers -1. Okay, let's copy and paste all of this good stuff, and then let's get to work. F. Donahue, thank you. Mr. Vape, Kongs Clips, all you guys. Nufflush said, yep, paid for a new Squishmallow. I love it. I love it. Rodney M, now a member for 10 months, and we be pubbing. That means a ton to us. Thank you so much. Joe Yurkovich in the house. Kongs Clips with $1.49 dono. Thank you for sharing your hard-earned cash with us, Kongs Clips, my guy. Thank you to all of you. Now, let's get to work. Let's bring on the perfect man for this slate. But if you watch this man Cap, there's nothing he can't cash at. I mean, this guy is just multi-sport talented. But this is a great slate for him. 4 MLB games and college football. He is the star of our college football show, Hitting the Books, every Monday afternoon with the great Bobano. And Nutflush on said, Kristen's still in a sad state of mind right now, trying to keep her smiling after the firing of her boyfriend. I couldn't be happier. You know, Nutflush on was funny. When Kaplan was fired, I just imagined you hearing the news that Kaplan was fired on your car ride home from work, and then getting home, and there's Kaplan sitting at your kitchen table, sweet talking your wife. That was my imagination. That's where I took it right away. Right there. And I thought I was should share that with you. No, should I share that with you? And then I was like, no. Let's just keep that to myself. Let's bring him on, though, coming to us from Las Vegas, Nevada, the city where we all want to be. He's a real gambler. He's there every day. Please welcome Conor Mac to the show. CMac, how are you, my friend?
Jimmy, what's going on? Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Guy.
Thank you.
Let's get the cash today.
Let's get that cash. It's been a nice little run. We've been on a nice little run last week. College football 4-1, Canadian football 3-1, and then I was 5-3 in NFL going into Sunday night and Monday night, and lost 2 bets there. I cleaned up the Sunday live show and then gave it back on the Monday live show. So, but I'm excited. I'm excited to be rocking with you here with this slate. It's a perfect slate for us. We can relax, have some fun, and then I'm off to Niagara Falls, New York.
Cool.
New York. I'm looking forward to it. And I can't wait for the Phillies game this evening. And I can't wait to talk about all these games. And that's the only bet I've made. So the only bets I've made are on the Phillies and then my 2 best bets in college football. And I have some interest in other spots. So let's get right to work. Thank you again to all of you for the well wishes. Let's go. Let me make sure I've got everything I need up here quickly. Why don't we ask this while I'm getting everything set up here? How was yesterday's playoff baseball action for you?
Was good. I only had 1 bet, the Rangers under. Perfect. But I'm looking to make a couple more today. Hopefully.
All right. Well, let's do that right now. So let's get that up here and get this up here. And I already have the cash flow and that. And okay, we are good to go. Let's fire away. We start at the Trop. Texas Rangers at the Tampa Bay Rays. St. Petersburg, Florida. Nathan Eovaldi, 12-5, 3.63 ERA, 1.14 WHIP, 144 innings, 132 Ks, 47 walks, and 15 homers. His last start of the year was not very good, and it was an important game. You know, they win that game, they win the division. 3 1/3, 5 hits, 7 earned runs, 2 homers, 5 Ks, 2 walks, and an 8-0 loss at the Mariners. On the road, he was just as solid as he was at home. He's a guy who can handle any situation. He gets lefties out the same rate generally as righties, and he's good on the road and he's good at home. On the road, 78 1/3, 6-2, 3.56 ERA, 70 Ks, 26 walks, 6 homers, and a 227 opponent's batting average. Zach Eflin on the other side goes to show you the intelligence of the Tampa Bay Rays. And we can't blame them for signing Wander Franco to the big contract. Maybe if you sign somebody to a big contract, you hire some private investigators to follow them around for a while, get a psychologist to talk to them for a while. Maybe you could say that. But from a talent perspective, you understood why they gave him the big contract. And if he had fulfilled the term on that contract, I would imagine that they would have got a lot of value off of it due to his talent. The signing of Zach Eflin, that was the biggest free agent contract in Tampa Bay Rays history, and that was a thing of beauty. You knew immediately when they signed him that he was better than we had thought he was when he was with the Phillies. And he showed it. 16-8, 3.50 ERA, 1.02 whip. I mean, how right were these guys? 186 Ks to 24 walks. His last start at Boston, he had some road issues at times, but was very good. 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 homer, 4 Ks, no walks, 9-7 win at Boston. At home, he was dynamite. 11-4, 3.30 ERA, 120 strikeouts to 14 walks, 238 opponent's batting average. The Rangers have been hitting righties hard. These are from September 1st stats, 258, 14 OPS, while the Rays versus righties are 244, 723 OPS. We thought that the Rangers bullpen would be their Achilles heel down the stretch, and if they got into the playoffs here, we didn't see it last night, but it still is an issue. The Rays bullpen, 3.28 ERA since September 1st, while the Rangers was 5.08. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Move over to MLB and see what we are dealing with. Zach Eflin, we're going to go right to Pinnacle. Zach Eflin sitting at minus 141 right now, and he opened up at minus 152. So there's been a 9-cent move towards the Texas Rangers. As much as that starts maybe getting into the right line that you'd want to back the the Tampa Bay Rays, I'm still hesitant to back them. This total opened up at 8. It dropped to 7.5. And when it dropped to 7.5, it only lasted there for 19 minutes before it was back up at 8 and hasn't seen a 7.5 since. Now that 8 is juiced to minus 110. We get over to the cash flow for this one to pop off. This is 3 p.m. Eastern action, noon for those of you in Vegas or the West Coast. 72% of the tickets and 83% of the cash are on the Rays, and yet there's a market move towards the Rangers. It seems like the books are opening up their arms to anybody who wants to bet the Rays. From a total perspective, 57% of the tickets, 56% of the cash is on that over. I know we've got to get to work, and the work is the most important part of the show. Well, you guys, the chat's the most important part of the show, and the work is second. But Ron Walsek, thank you, really thank you for the kind words. Von Polo, Rem, Jimmy Gomez, truly, Jeffrey Moore, RVD, Kong's Clips gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. That means so much to us, Kong's Clips. Jeffrey Moore getting it. I love seeing that. So thank you to Kong's Clips. And Coin, Markel, Big Scott, all you guys, truly thank you. Now let's get the work done and let's get paid. I've never taken a birthday off. I want to win so badly, and I want to cap with you. This is my most fun opportunity, is to cap with you. Take it away for us, CMac, Rangers, Rays.
Yeah, let's get right to it here at the Trop. We got to touch on, man, can they get more than 19,000 in this early game? I doubt it. I know.
The lowest total since 1919 for a playoff game. The lowest attendance for a playoff game in Major League Baseball since 1919.
God, I mean, for a baseball team in the playoffs, that's rough to watch. Let's get to the Rangers. I do think there's some value with them, off the win. Tampa Bay Rays just kind of, limped in here into the playoffs. My big thing here, let's get to the pitchers, is Eovaldi is the forearm strain. Because, it was in the back, I was talking with Jose. He's kind of owned these Rays over his career. I know he gave up 4 runs. He had an earlier start. I think the Rangers were at like 10 runs in that game, though, so it really meant nothing. They were crushing him. But he gave up 4 in a start to him. But since he's been back, I just don't like how he's been pitching. The last 2 were to Seattle. But, I mean, he's got a few starts where he's gone to the 5th inning. But other than that, he 3 1/3, 3 1/3, gave up 7, 5. Now, he's been pretty good in the postseason. So, can he turn this on with the good numbers too? I'm a little bit leery of him here because I kind of want to go back to the under, but I think we get a few more runs maybe today. And I think there's some real value on the Rangers. And Eflin, this is the guy you want starting here, Jimmy. He's been solid all year long at home with a big game. And there's a big price, though, on the Rays. It's expensive. Like, you would have to lay the half run. It was still minus 105. And you got to think, can these Rays bats come alive? They're just nowhere to be seen. And it was basically that way the last 2 months of the year. They would have spurts where they would have some, solid games, but they just had a tough time scoring. So I really think the move to the Rangers, I don't mind it. I think this price is too big here for the Rangers.
I think it's warranted as well. In saying that, I'm a little hesitant to fade Eflin. I think everybody is. And I think you nailed it with the price. So, let's bring on the star of Say Hey Plays of the day. He will be joining us for all of these MLB breakdowns. Jose, the Rays with 99 wins may be playing their final game of the season right here today. What do you think of this spot? Take it away, Rangers, Rays at the top.
No, I think you're right. I think this is the last game for the Rays. Now, I'm being a little safe, and I'm only betting Rangers first 5. Nasty Nate Eovaldi is my guy. I love him. He's one of my favorite pitchers in Red Sox. My Red Sox history. He's a playoff demon. Now, obviously, the forearm injury is the big concern here. How he's going to bounce back from that? But I believe in the Rays. I believe in Nasty Nate dominating the Rays. He's done it for the last 3 years. So I'm on Rangers first 5 as well.
This is interesting, Jose. So what you're saying is you would rather take advantage or that the Eovaldi versus Eflin is more comfortable than the Rays bullpen versus the Rangers bullpen.
Yes. Yeah.
That makes sense. As much as I'm concerned, and as much as I'm not going to fade Eflin, and I really think the Phillies are going to take me to the bank, and the plus money opportunities to bet them against the Braves, if we can get there, will be very enjoyable. But and this is no slight on the Braves, but I don't want to fade Eflin here. He scares me. So then, if you think Eovaldi is going to have a strong start here, does that lead you to have interest in the first 5 under? What would then, Jose, keep you off the first 5 under?
Just the Rangers offense. I still am worried about the Rangers offense, but I lean first 5 under for sure. It's just a fear of the Rangers offense. And of course, Eovaldi's last 4 starts in the regular season or whatever it was were not good coming off of the forearm. So I think he turns it on during the playoffs and locks in against a good team, but those are the 2 concerns that I have there. So I lean under here, but I am betting unders in this game. I told Connor that I'm actively avoiding betting overs. There's only one game I bet over in this game and in this slate, and it's not this one.
And this total first 5's gone from 4.5 to 4 anyway. So that had to have been bet at 4.5. I think.
Yeah, I saw it last night.
Did you come close?
No. Yeah, but I was just looking at it and I thought it'd be a 4.
Yeah, that's a little surprising, I guess, that it came out. I mean, last night I was so caught up in our NFL show. But so as it stands right now, Jose is on the Rangers first 5. Jose, have you already tweeted that out?
Yeah, I did. I'll check my tweet real quick because I forgot what line I got.
At this point, CMac, is this not strong enough of a lean to bet?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get there. Eflin, the Rangers haven't seen him too this year. You talked it off the top how they've hit righties, well all year. Seager, the only guy. I think he's 3 for 7 or 3 for 6 with a home run. I'd look to more of him. Probably.
Plus 127, and I agree with that as well. Seager has hit well as well.
Rangers first 5 at plus 127. I like the implied probability, and I understand you wanting to stay away from the bullpen battle. Dabby Cab on the Rangers team total over 3.5. And wow. All right. So a lot of people, CMac and Jose, let's touch on this quickly. A lot of people talking about the 4 errors yesterday. Do you think that has any effect on them today?
No.
Nah.
Yeah, I don't. I really don't think if that should keep you. If you like the Rays and you're saying, well, the 4 errors yesterday, it's a brand new day. These things don't really carry over in that regard, in my estimation, especially against the team that's gone through the rigors of playoff baseball for a few years. So, all right. That's it for game 1. Jose, the only one making a move here. Rangers first 5 plus 127. Let's move on to 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And my friend sent me a message.
Travi?
No, but my friend sent me a message saying that when he watches the Blue Jays, it just feels like it's on a loop. There's never anything exciting. You can never trust them. They never get the big hit. And it's just the same shit every day. It's and I don't know how. At this point, you're like, who can you trust here? And maybe it's Jose Barrios. Maybe it is. But you know me, I'd be starting Bassett. I don't care about Barrios' history with Minnesota. Bassett is the guy that I trust. Up 5, thank you so much. So there's nothing that makes me want to back the Jays. I was thinking, because I might even be able to get there before this game, get to the Niagara Falls, New York before this game starts. And I was like, if I was in Vegas, because it's not nearly as much fun, but if I was in Vegas, I was like, what would I do here? And I was like, it might be fun to have a ticket tied in with the Phillies. And I was like, no, this is a goddamn business. This isn't just for fun. I'm not going to tie the Blue Jays in just because it's going to be more fun. It'll hurt more when they lose because I don't believe in them. And you know who else doesn't believe in them here is Ron Crawford. The spreadsheet play today was so unbelievably, impressively consistent this year. Spreadsheet play of the day is on Minnesota minus 132. And shout out to our friend Ron Crawford. Interesting. Tell me, didn't you say that? Because I don't understand how you can back Eovaldi with how he's looked since coming back. 9 ERA, 1.92 WHIP in September. It's just and that's, I get it. And you could say that, possibly, Jose has a vividness bias with Eovaldi. But the idea that he would step up here is not far-fetched. I understand that Eovaldi's not had a good September, but he's another guy who's been through the wars, and the idea that he would step up in this important spot is not I don't find that a mistake or far-fetched personally. But let's get back here.
And plus 67% of the bets and 83% of the money are on the Rays. So it's not an unpopular opinion that you have there. So
yeah.
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 I mean, and you're getting that price with the Ranger. I mean, that's where I'd be if
Yeah, no, I get it. And C Blink says loading up on the Rays. Don't care what you guys talking about. Well, you must care a bit because you just commented and you're watching. All right. Toronto Blue Jays at Minnesota Twins Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Sammy Comer says these Blue Jays don't have heart bunk hoots. What's happening? Gifted Cartel says this will be Gray's first playoff start since 2017. It's amazing. I mean, it's very important that the Twins came on in the second half of the year. That's very, very important. And Sonny Gray was a big part of their season, just so consistent and so good at home. At home, 227 opponents batting average. He allowed 4 home runs over 97 2/3. It was impressive. Jose Barrios had a huge bounce back season. He was there's no way we are in the playoffs. No way. If he didn't have this bounce back season. 11-12, 3.65 ERA, 1.19 WHIP, 189 2/3, 184 Ks, 52 walks, and 25 home runs. His last start, 6-0 loss at home versus the Yankees. He hasn't been great in the last 6 weeks, and I don't know if he should be trusted on the road. Let's take a look at the line history here on this one. First off, if you're looking at the first 5, It's minus 119 to the over, and it's jumped up to 4.5. Every time that it's gone to 4.5, it's come right back down to 4. But that's an important note. When we get to the full game total here on this one, we're sitting at an 8 at Pinnacle. They were 7.5, like the other books. They were 7.5 from the opening line at 7:30 last night. They moved it up to 8. If you're asking why this would jump from 7.5 to 8 and say, well, which one of these pitchers is the most vulnerable? I mean, with not a half second breath, you would say it's Berrios, the one that's the most vulnerable. The Jays are sitting at plus 126 right now. They opened up at plus 114. So the Twins have had 13-cent move towards them. When we go over to the cash flow here for this, you have 51% of the tickets and 76% of the cash on the under. Yet Pinnacle, the sharpest book that we know, has moved it up to 8. From a money line standpoint, you have 65% of the tickets and 79% of the cash on the Twins, and the market's moving in that direction. And yes, I want that cat. We know that Berrios was on this team for many, many years. It's that's what we've been talking about, the revenge side of this, for this whole breakdown. Jays versus righties, 244, 765 since September 1st. Twins, 249, 798. This Jays bullpen fell apart a little bit down the stretch, 4.68 ERA, and the Twins bullpen, 3.40. We're going to go to CMac and Jose, but I've seen enough. If the Jays were to show heart and win this game, I would be, what's the word, gobsmacked. I guess I would just be, I'd be shocked because this team doesn't have the heart. It doesn't have the grinders. And we've talked about why that is psychologically. We don't need to go back into that. Take it away, CMac. Blue Jays, Twinkies, Target Field, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
I'm with you here. Like, if I could see anything from this baseball team, we talked a lot about it, with both of you guys. I'd like to back the Blue Jays here, but I can't do it. And I think I guess that's what they're thinking. I think Bassett should be starting this game as well. And Jose, I've had a problem with him. Sometimes I just can't get when he's going to pitch well. He's had some success. He had a start against the Twins earlier this year. And the Twins got the monkey off the back, but, whatever it was, 18 years, that place was rocking. Yesterday, they finally get the win. Sonny Gray's been really good at home. I do like the under. I'd like to have that 4.5. I don't know if we get there again, but I was looking at the first 5 under here. I got to trust, though, good old Jose to pitch well, and I think he could get hit a little bit.
I don't know what he's going to give us, and I know he cares so much about the start. I know he cares so much about shoving it to the Twins. I didn't touch the weather, and it is important. It's not 16 miles coming in right now. It's blowing out.
It's blowing out.
64 Fahrenheit, 12.6 miles per hour, blowing out right out to center. Stays between 12.6 and 11.4 miles per hour. And Ballpark Pal here doesn't. Now, this is because of the hitting profiles and the pitchers, as much as the effect of the park and weather. But Ballpark Pal has the homers at minus 2%, the doubles and triples at minus 7%, and the runs at plus 2%. Jose, take it away here, Blue Jays Twins.
Yeah, maybe it's square, but I'm on the first 5 under here as well. I believe Sonny Gray pitches well here. And the thing is, I don't think you have to worry about the Blue Jays pitching. I think the pitching has been the strength of this team for the last month. Just the offense has just been nothing, and that's not the Blue Jays team we've been used to for the last 3 years. All offense, no pitching, and then their bullpen falls apart. Now this year it's just their pitching's been great and they can't find it. So I think Jose Berrios pitches well here as well. But I also think he pitches well here because this is the Twins' first time to win a series and fucking God knows when. I think the Twins bats and everyone on the Twins team will be just gripping their bats a little tighter. The sawdust will be coming off the bats. And I think there'll be a tight first 5 innings of this game here. So I went first 5 under 4 minus 105 here. Now, obviously, the wind and weather does concern me a bit. But hopefully Ballpark Pal is right there. So I think that the hitters feel the pressure a bit here early. And the pitchers hopefully do their thing.
See, I don't mean to be so negative towards Vladdy and Bobo and Cavan. their dads, 2 or 3 of those dads were Hall of Famers, and they all played in the majors, and they all had anything they wanted all growing up. I think Barrios really cares about this start. I think he cares so much going up against his old team to keep their season alive. I honestly, and I don't mean to be an asshole, but I don't know how much the core of this Jays team cares that much. They've not shown us any sign that they're so angry after loss. I mean, they haven't shown us any reason to think that they're going to dig in. So,
and Jose Barrios does fold in big moments as well. He had and arguably the second biggest start of his career. Fucking Puerto Rico versus Venezuela. He folded up like flapjacks. Was it because I was in his ear the whole game telling him he sucks and he wasn't worthy of the ball? Maybe. But, I do expect him to pitch well here. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to be a very interested observer. But if they lose here today, I will not have lost money on them in the playoffs, and I will not have lost money on them in the futures market. And that's the first year I can say that in a long time. And if they win today, I think Bassett wins game 3. If Bassett was pitching today, I'd be on him. Bassett's a big game pitcher. They could have set it up so that Bassett could have pitched today. They didn't, and that was because they were still trying to get in. So, we can't put that on them. But Jose's on the first 5 under 4 minus 105. Spreadsheet play today is on Minnesota minus 132. CMac, do we have anything from you here?
No, I'm looking at that under. It's just
first 5. So
yeah,
I think there's a chance that it could flip up again, but it's one of those things where every time it goes to 4.5, the sharps pound it.
Yeah, so if I get it, I'm gonna be on it.
Yeah, so you got to keep the screen up and be going back every 15 minutes, and that's so annoying to do. But that seems like it will go.
By the way,
yeah,
the Jays to win the pennant right now plus 1,600 for those who have been dying to get on the Jays at some point in the season. This is it. This is it. It's your time on the brink of elimination. Probably the best odds you'll ever get for them.
Well, if they can win this game. Then
exactly.
Then we're talking, and then I might, because I'll expect Bassett to win game 3. And if you can come back from a 1-0 deficit in the best of 3, you have all that momentum, all that belief. You get to go on the plane, with all this hope, and so that.
I agree, but then you'll only get like plus 500 for the futures odds. So if you want to bet this is the time, and that's kind of like your replacement bet for this game. If they win this game, you think they'll win game 3, just bet the pennant. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. Shout to BJ.
BJ's best bet, the Tampa Bay Rays for 5 units, a big boy bet for our guy.
This is full game.
Yeah,
this is full game.
Wow, I love it. All right, let's roll on. Next up for 7 p.m. Eastern, and I wanted Arizona, but I had no idea what Fott was going to do out there, but I love that they were starting him, and then they're down 3-0 right away, and I'm like, oh, thank God, and of course, they come back and win. What up, Sharon? Great to have you here. And this is a spreadsheet look on the Rays. It's not the spreadsheet play of the day, but the spreadsheet look on the Rays. Diamondbacks, Brewers, American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Zach Gallen is phenomenal pitcher, but he's little Jekyll and Hyde on the road. And Freddie Peralta's numbers are so good this year. Now, I know he's a 3.86 ERA. He kind of got hot later, but the 210 strikeouts over 165 and 2/3. I don't remember him being dominant like this. And Jose, how much I've loved him. I've been saying now Corbin Burns, I mean, they've got some really nice pitchers over with the Brewers, but there was a time, was it, 2 years ago, or was it, I think it was 2 years ago when I said, look, he's the best pitcher on the Brewers. And so I'm happy to see him step up the way he has this year. Let's take a look at the weather situation here. It's 75 Fahrenheit, 10.3 miles per hour right to left. So we can imagine that the roof, although it doesn't play a huge part, will be open. There's no AC or anything, not that they would necessarily need it. American Family Field is plus 19% home runs. That's the expectation tonight. Minus 5% doubles and triples, plus 4% runs. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have the Diamondbacks sitting at plus 120. I can understand why that would be a very appealing number for gamblers with Zach Gallen on the mound. The Brewers have gone from minus 124 to minus 130. They've taken 6 cents of action. From a total scenario here, we're sitting at a 7.5. It's minus 107 to the over. Open minus 107, sitting at minus 107. We get into the cash flow here. 45 now. It just changed. So tickets are coming in on the Brewers, but now it's 39% of the tickets are on the Diamondbacks and 49% of the cash. So that can explain the very short, tiny, or almost no movement on the money line. 26% of the tickets are on the under, and 59% of the cash is on the under. Zach Gallen's last start at home versus the Astros, 2 earned runs over 6 1/3. On the road this year, though, a 4.42 ERA. This is a pitcher who allowed 15 home runs on the road, just 7 at home. On the road, opponents hit 245 against him. This is a pitcher who has more strikeouts than innings, way more at home, under on the road. Going up against Freddie Peralta, last start, not good. 6-1 loss at Miami, 4 earned runs over 3 innings. At home, he's been good, 3.44 ERA. Opponents hitting 182 against him. Diamondbacks versus righties September 1st have been poor, 219, 655 OPS. They don't have depth throughout the lineup. Brewers versus righties, 256, 741, and both bullpens have been very good. And that is not something you could say about the Diamondbacks bullpen throughout the season. But since September 1st, the Diamondbacks with a 2.31 ERA, while the Brewers are 2.16. CMac, take it away here for us. American Family Field, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Diamondbacks, Brewers.
Yeah, it is minus 145. Yeah, that'd be get a hold of Sharpie with the strikeouts here. I'm sure he'll be all over this. Yesterday there was runs in that game, and for the Diamondbacks to get the win with that in, I thought was great. And the Brewers just, all those hits can't get anybody home. They should have had 5 or 6 runs in those first 5 innings, and they didn't. Yeah, some people already put it in the chat, Jeffrey Moore. It's just Gallen. This guy's been really good on the road at times, and he's gotten lit up. And Freddie Peralta, I think he's been pretty good all year, especially, if you look at his strikeouts, he's been money to that. But I think he could get hit. I think this game, I'd lean to more runs in this game. This is the one I think, we could see some runs. I lean over in this one. And I do think there's some value here. Pressure's on the Brewers. Give me Gallen, in the D-backs first 5 here.
I think so too. But again, and I have to stop myself and say it out loud, it's a vividness bias for me on Zach Gallen making me so much money when he's at home on first 5s, and now he's on the road. But I think so too. BJ, happy birthday, man. Love it. Both October 4th. Respect. I'm 44,
Nice.
You're 24. I like it.
By the way, BJ making just gigantic bets at the age of 24 makes me sick, BJ. Yeah, you fucking asshole, BJ. What a dickhead. BJ, oh, my God.
He's the real deal, man. That's how he rolls, man. I love that. I love that.
Shout out to BJ, man.
I've been around that, and I don't ever find jealousy for that stuff, because I want my friends, I want people around me to have a big unit size. I mean, that's just an important part of them. But Pavi, when I was younger, Pavi was making huge bets. Alex Pavone, who joins us on some of our shows, huge bets I'm 10 years older than him, and his unit size was way higher than mine. But I don't let that stuff get in my head. I want everybody to have that, to be cashing those kind of bets. Jesus. I want everybody's unit size to grow and grow and grow. But take it away right here, Jose. Gallen, Peralta, Diamondbacks, Brewers. We just heard CMac's thoughts on it, and I agree. And I want Gallen, but I'm so thinking that the Philadelphia Phillies are going to make me money here this year that I am not on them right now. Take it away, Jose. Gallen, Peralta, American Family Field. By
the way, Eric Rosas, another birthday today. Birthday triplets, you guys. So shout out to you guys.
Oh, nice. Nice, Eric. I love it.
Honestly, I've gone back and forth on this game. I definitely want to bet the Diamondbacks. But Zach Gallen's road ERA does scare me. So I think I've just stayed off this game. My hot take, whatever you wanted to call it, from yesterday's show with Pedro, I said, and Sharpie, I said that the Diamondbacks would win this series. I was really hoping that they would lose game one, and then I'd bet them a series after that, down 1-0. Then Gallen and Kelly would take me home here. So I think Gallen does pitch well. This is not my over game. My over game is the next game, actually. So I guess I have to lean under here. But this was no bets for me, unfortunately.
No, it doesn't have to be important. Okay, I'll tell you what else, too. I bet more on the Phillies game yesterday, but I didn't have a big day because of the Blue Jays' first 5 losing. I don't want anything to get in the way of my profit today because I let something get in the way of it yesterday. Now, look, the Phillies could lose. I mean, that's of course possible, but that's what's kind of keeping me off adding something. I know that I'll be going over 2.5 units probably here because I have a decent sized bet here with my local, but I'm going to go down and move on it with American cash in a few hours. So let's see. CMac, are you going to move on either the over or the plus money on Arizona, or this game doesn't pop off for 7 hours and 15 minutes, so you got time? What's your thought?
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait on it. I don't think I'm gonna touch the total, but I might be on the D-backs first side. Here we go.
Wow. And we got our guy Millsy here driving down to San Diego for Bellator 300, doing media for Pub Sports Radio. Respect, Millsy. Drive safe, my guy, and can't wait for you to be rocking down there, man. You do such a great job of those interviews. So keep up the hustle and respect. And Eric Rosas is identical twin. Doesn't gamble. So we don't wish him a happy birthday, Eric. That's how we work here. You don't gamble.
Exactly.
You're not our friend.
Exactly. Right. What an interesting difference there. All the gambling genes go to one, and the other's like, fuck that. That's awesome.
Kelly McKinnon says, do you as a Canadian have to pay taxes on what you win in the USA? It depends how much, right? They'll force you if it's over a certain number, but then you can apply to get it back. It's a pain. All right. No, Eric Rose, that's no bad. We love you, dude. I'm joking. If he's your twin, we love him. All right. Jimmy Gomez is off the top of my head. A gallon on the road plus a half or 5 feels right. Of course, I agree. I completely agree. But that's just because he's made us so much money and now he's on the road. And I don't want to get in the way of this. Very quickly, I think Gallon will pitch good here. I think he'll pitch good, but I don't know if there's going to be that one inning where I think he could get touched. Quickly here, just bear with both of you. We're rapid fire here. What are your thoughts on, what is your expectation on Freddie Peralta innings, earned runs here today? CMac first.
I think he goes 5 or 6, and I think he gives up a couple. I think he gives up 2 or 3.
I was thinking the same thing. I would probably say 6 innings, 3 earned runs.
All right.
And look, I would just keep the D-backs first 5. I know they're here, but I still don't want that bullpen, any of that stuff, and they could lose it. So I only look early here with Gallon.
Especially after Devin Williams got shat on yesterday. He doesn't have typically 2 bad starts in a row or 2 relief appearances in a row. So don't be surprised if we see him again here as well. But the good thing about Devin Williams is that, especially in the playoffs, he had the most stolen bases against this year of any pitcher, I think, in the majors. So the Diamondbacks will be stealing off of him as well. So that maybe, neutralizes him a little bit more.
Yeah. Ricky, thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Let's move on to action. Finally, I would love just to give out picks. That'd be all fun and games. But what are you betting? And,
exactly.
Yeah. I told CMac, I made CMac work on a football game. And when it came down to it 30 minutes ago, I was like, I can't bet it. I can't fucking bet it. Not 30 minutes ago, but 30 minutes for the show. And I sent a message. I'm like, sorry, I made you do all this work, but we've got to cut it because I'm not just. And so here, let's go to work. Now, I was late on this only because we were doing the NFL show. I could have got this earlier at a better line. I got the Philadelphia Phillies -1 at +104. It's available right now, -1 at +101 now at Pinnacle. I got +104. A BJ looking at the Phillies money line. Browns Hughes on the Phillies -1. And Clinch Bet saying that the Diamondbacks closing out the series tonight. Justin McAfee got the Diamondbacks team total over 3.5 on his card. Talk Sports with JT going back to the well with Phillies -0.5. For me, I don't think there's unless you're doing it just simply to double up. I would rather double up on the full game. This Phillies bullpen has been in playoff mode now for 3 months, 4 months. I mean, they've been so good, and this Marlins bullpen looks vulnerable. We already got the Trey Turner stacks play of the day for Justin McAfee. Let's get to work here. Game 2 of the NL Wildcard Series here. Miami Marlins 84-77, 38-43 on the road at the Philadelphia Phillies 90-72, 49-32 at home. I was really nervous that the Phillies would have to play the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks have for me a much higher upside than the Marlins. I think they're much more dangerous here. So here we go. Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We'll go into the weather here. We have 71 Fahrenheit, 5.4 miles out to left center, down to 4.1. You know, one of the reasons why I hate the Rogers Center, or what was the Skydome so much, is because I've been to these other stadiums. Citizens Bank Park is perfect. I mean, maybe not perfect. Maybe you say Camden's perfect, or even, T-Mobile in Seattle. Maybe those are a little closer to perfect. Maybe, Fenway, you could say, if Wrigley, if you look at it from a different way. But I mean, from the newer stadiums. But Citizens Bank Park is magic. And watching the Red October last night, I was like, God damn. Like, this team is so locked in. Their fans are so locked in. You think the Marlins can go into Citizens Bank Park and come out with a victory? I don't. And I want to challenge the Braves to do it. But, obviously that will start in Atlanta. Now, Braxton Garrett is a tough pitcher. Look, he's a very tough pitcher. He's been good on the road all year, although he wasn't very good in the road in his last start. But that was the second time seeing the Mets in back-to-back starts. 4 innings, 4 earned runs, 2 homers, 2 Ks, 2 walks. On the road, he's been excellent all year long. And you could say that Aaron Nola has been bad this year. That would all be fair. But one thing about Zach Wheeler starting it off, and him and Nola have known each other for a long time, is winning begets winning, and it's the same thing with your friends, and that's why being jealous of people is so. If they're your friends, it's just so stupid. And Aaron Nola watching Wheeler shove, I expect Nola to do the exact same at home, where he was much better. I mean, he was terrible on the road. At home, he was money in the bank. Kevin K, thank you so much, my man. Thank you so much for the kind words. Nola last start was at home, and it was what he's been doing all year. He allowed 1 solo shot and 4 hits over 6 2/3, 8 Ks, no walks. At home, 3.29 ERA, 2.12 opponent's batting average. And I expect him to follow Wheeler's suit. 22% plus 22% home runs, minus 7% doubles and triples, minus 3% singles, plus 4% runs. I also think that playing a weaker team and getting a couple wins is crucial, because this is such a short series. A team like Arizona or Milwaukee can just beat you. They can just straight up beat you in 3 games. And I'm not saying that the Marlins can't. And Rant saying that Miami run line is tempting. The only reason why it would be tempting to me is because of Braxton Garrett. And if Braxton Garrett can go into Citizens Bank Park in Red October and beat these Phillies, then he is an incredible pitcher who's going to have a monster career. I don't know if he's capable of doing it. And let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We will start with this total. It is sitting at 8. It is juiced to the under. It opened up at 8. Under was minus 114. The under is now minus 110. So there's been 4 cents of movement towards the over. And from a money line perspective, we are sitting here with the Phillies at minus 144. This line came out at 10:58 p.m. at minus 128. I don't know how it did. I also don't know how I didn't have the book open at the time, because 2 minutes later it moved 15 cents. And that's where it's been the whole time. Well, it actually got up to minus 156 this morning. There's been buyback. But that minus 128, I'm shocked that that's what they put it at. And from the cash flow standpoint, we have 80% of the tickets and 85% of the cash on the over. And from a money line look, we have 88% of tickets and 94% cash on the Phillies. Do I want to be on the side with 88 and 94? No, I don't. Look, that's not where. But I don't care. I don't care. North London says, I feel cheated. I found this channel called Pub Sports, and it's all about USA nonsense. Then go away. Go the fuck away. How about that? I would feel cheated if you stuck around. Fuck off. Lose our number.
USA? What?
Marlins
Like,
versus
this is
righties,
stupid
269, 773 OPS since
Ugh.
September 1st. Phillies versus lefties, 226, 760 OPS. Marlins bullpen, 5.16 ERA, as I talked about, since September 1st. Let's roll here. Thank you, Mikey. Pimp Slap play of the day. Thank you. Take it away for us, CMac. Marlins, Phillies, Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think the Phillies can get to Gary. You know, the two starts were at home, you know, and it could be similar. He went 5 innings, he gave up 3. No starts in Philly. He had one last year. You know, he gave up 8 hits for 3 earned. I think in almost 5 innings, I forget, or 4 2/3. I like these Phillies. I think they win as well. Nola, you know, the Marlins have been able to hit him, you know, a little bit this year, but he's at home. He's on the mound. He's been a hard guy over the years for me to figure out, but he's at home. I like your bet. I don't know if I get there, and I do think there's a few more runs in this game, maybe as well, but I'm not going to mess with it. But I am on an RBI prop in this one. Usually I'd go for his total bases, and there's a few guys to look at. Harper, Turner, but his 1.5 total bases was like minus 105, or it's even money. If he's hitting third, I want Alec Boehm. He eats lefties, you know, eats them up. Last year at 352, 303. His whole career, he's ate him up. He's 5 for 9. So I'm on his RBI prop, plus 155.
Plus 155 for CMac. Take it away, Jose, and also touch on CMac's RBI prop.
Yeah, I was actually gearing up to say something about Alec Boehm as well, because he dominates Braxton Garrett for whatever reason. You know, like Conor said, he hits lefties well, 5 hits and 9 at bats. Statcast, or Baseball Savant, I should say, has the exit velocity on his hits as well, or his plate appearance, I should say, at 96.7. So he's hitting the ball hard as well, and the launch angle is getting up. So hopefully he can get one up and out. So I liked your prop there, Connor, and I was going to say that if I had to bet a player prop today, it'd probably be him bases or something of the sort. So shout out to you there. But I'm going to be honest. I guess I'll be the stick in the wind here again. I kind of like the Marlins here. You mentioned it. I liked them yesterday. They lost 3-0. I cashed on the under, which kind of made up for it, so it was okay. But you mentioned the market move in this game is very interesting. Now, obviously, unsurprisingly, everyone and their mom's on the Phillies here. 88% of the bets, 94% of the money. And you're right. The line move has been pretty weird. On Bet Online, it opened it up at minus 135. And then it immediately goes up to minus 153, minus 155 at 8 a.m. today. And then it just starts dropping. It's been dropping since then, 46, 47, 45 now at 11:30. And I am concerned here. That is the ye old open it up. Come bet the Phillies, everyone. We're making it cheap, but come on. Red October. Look at their shortstop. He's so good. Bryce Harper. So I'm a little worried on that aspect. I haven't made any bets on this game. Actually, Pavi texted me just now, Jimmy, and told me Marlins are his play of the day, which I thought that was funny as well. So I pass. I lean Marlins. If I was betting the Phillies in some way, I'd probably be betting Boehm props. But you know, most people see me as a Rangers hater. What I really, I guess, am is a Phillies hater, because our biggest disagreement here is that I think the Braves will beat the Phillies, and it'll be make everything a lot better for me mentally, because I don't have to see their shortstop play baseball anymore. So Marlins for me, if I had to bet anything, but nothing for me here officially.
I challenge any team. I watched as soon as I could, but it was the very end of the game. They made it 4-1, and it was like goosebumps. That we know what Philly fans are like. They're passionate. They care. Red October is real. The place was electric. That you knew, you know, when they celebrated their clinching, I was like, this is a dangerous baseball team, and this can all change very quickly. in a 3-game series. It can all change very quickly. But I think Zach Wheeler set a tone, and Nola follows suit. And God, I'm excited. So there we go. Dan Bonner says, don't sleep on the fact that Nola has had extra rest. Says Nola 5 days versus 4 days rest is completely different picture. And Nola playing for his future in the MLB.
Yeah, and he needs this. That's the real thing about it. Jordan Montgomery, shout out to him again. I cannot emphasize enough. Immediately when the Rangers traded for him on that live show, I was disgusted because I knew how good he could be. And he yesterday made himself a good amount of money because he's going to be a free agent. And the same thing goes with Nola. He's been shit all year. He just has not been really all that great. People expected a lot better from him on a contract season. And this could be his moment to go out there and get the bag. And I'll mention as well, there's not many playoff atmospheres that really matter. Philadelphia is obviously one of them. We saw it last year, how it obviously helped the Phillies and all that stuff. But I'll just keep that in mind for the rest of the playoffs. A lot of playoff atmospheres do not really matter. Philadelphia is definitely one of them.
Oh, I can't wait for this baseball game tonight. I can't wait.
Yeah. Hey, Marlins, I think, are happy that they got in the playoffs, this year. But these teams see each other a ton, and play a ton of close games.
Yeah.
And the Marlins kind of owned the Phillies there for a little bit. When they were really shit, the Marlins always found a way to beat the Phillies back then. But, it's just like we always say, everyone's piling in on the Phillies, 88% of the bets, 94% of the money, it's just not a side I typically want to be on. But I could see all of the benefits for sure.
I feel you. Well, let's review all action and then get into college football. We're going to discuss the 2 games tonight in college football, and then we're going to go into our best bets for the weekend. Thank you, Cheshire, and all of you guys. Thank you so much for the kind words, Director 97, all of you guys. Jose starts his card with the Rangers first 5 at plus 127. Eovaldi, Eflin, and I would like to back the Rays here, but I'm nervous. I'm just nervous, and I don't want to get in the way of what I think will be a profitable evening here, because at this point, all I have today are the Phillies. The big booty Latina play of the day from Londo is the over 7.5 in the Jays game. Spreadsheet play of the day from Ron Crawford's Minnesota minus 132, and Jose is on the first 5 under 4 at minus 105 over there. Then we'll get into Diamondbacks, Brewers, and there's been no movement here. It could be very easy for me to have the Rays in the morning and then at 7 have Gallon first 5. I mean, all that I could do. I get it. And
when you're at the sports book, I feel like you might get that tingle, Jimmy. You might get that tingle. You're there. You've got that American.
I'll just walk right to the poker table.
Okay.
I'll go right to the poker table and put down, buy in 2-5. You think 2-5 doesn't pump everybody up, man? I don't feel, but you're right. I kind of worry about it. But it would only be
once you're there,
it won't be the Jays.
I can see it. You walk by, you see the boards, you're like, man, you can taste the cracking on your lips at that point.
Well, but we've also heard from Pimp Slap, who was just there this weekend. It's not like a great sports book. It's not like you're like,
Well, I mean, here's the thing. You don't discriminate sports books unless they don't have a racetrack book, whatever, a race book. That's when you discriminate. But you don't discriminate with sports books. You don't give a fuck. As long as the money's good and they take your bets, you're in.
That's right. Then in the final game, we have Bohm RBI from CMac at plus 155. Stacks play today. Trey Turner over 1.5 bases. And I'm on the Philadelphia Phillies minus 1 at plus 104. Thank you. I get money. Philly Eagle Flyers on the Phillies minus 2.5 at plus 220 for a sprinkle. Pimp Slot play today says Rays went 12-1 straight up this season versus an AL team if they lost the previous game of the series at home. Joe Yerkovich says Garrett career versus the Phillies, 9 earned runs over 14 2/3. In the anchor bar, because we have an anchor bar in Hamilton as well, where just below the Yuck Yucks there. So I know that spot is right around the corner from the casino. I love it. I'll be interested in that. Thank you, Mikey. And then,
Jimmy, are you semi-worried about the Braves lining up their rotation for the Phillies and the Phillies going with Ranger Suarez if they win this game? And then who knows?
I think that all the pressure is on the Braves. all the pressure. So look, if the Braves sweep the Phillies 3-0, look, the Braves are a phenomenal baseball team, but all the pressure's on the Braves. So I'm going to bet the Phillies every game, and we'll see. We'll let the chips fall where they do. And look, I don't want to have a lefty up against the Braves. Look, the Braves are a great baseball team. The cash, the numbers on the Rays for our guy BJ: 72% of the tickets, 82% of the cash on the Rays. And from the total side of things, you have 53 and 54 on the over. All right, let's move on. Ronnie Burgess is walking through a sports book for us like a child waking up on Christmas morning. That for me, actually, that's really the horse track for me. I think that's because but the sports book is right there. But for me, the horse track might just still have a tiny bit because
No, it's the track. The book's like, come on.
Books are great.
Go there every day.
You guys are used to that. Like Connor.
Well, not anymore. I used to, but since all the apps and everything, I'm not. But I used to be in there.
We've got college football to talk about now. Good luck with your action, Jose, my friend. Let's get into it. 2 fun games here tonight, and especially with Middle Tennessee and Jacksonville State, and then not as much with FIU, but New Mexico State. We've talked about these teams quite a lot this year. Obviously, not as much as Jose has, but they've fallen on as much as CMac has, but they've fallen on weekday games for us. And I know Jacksonville State really well. I mean, this is the 3rd week in a row that I've studied them very hard, but I don't have action this week on them. But maybe that will change. But I've read them like a book these last 2 weeks. Now, I did push my Sam Houston bet last week, but that was, not fair.
That was harsh.
That was not fair, but that happens. That shit fucking happens.
I mean, I was like, damn, the team moves the ball out of nowhere for nothing, and yeah.
Well, Jacksonville State, and we'll get. I guess we can start right now. Jacksonville State, CMac had the ball for 17 minutes and 36 seconds of that football game.
Yeah, I know.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. 17 minutes and 36 seconds of that football game. Oh, my God. Shout out to Ricky Bobby. Says just was busy at work with a $9.99 dono. Thank you so much for caring about us. And thank you for the kind words, my man. That means a ton. It means a ton. And Pimp Slot Play Today says he's got a birthday pick in honor of our guy Jimmy. Says Jacksonville State plus 9.5 in the under 59 teaser. So really sweet things to see. Thank you, Ricky Bobby. And also thank you to Mike M for the birthday pick. Let's put that right there. All right, let's get right to work here on this one. And I could easily get involved, but I just wanted to talk it out and hear CMac. We're going to cut out our best bets, but we're not going to cut out this individual game. If you want to see this individual game breakdown, it's right under our NCAA football predictions, and it's CMac and Bobano rocking it. Let's take a look at the line history here. And the market is moving towards Middle Tennessee. Excuse me. Jeez, what am I saying? Moving towards Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State opening up at plus 4.5, all the way down to plus 3. And so I went 4-1 on my college football last week, and I've been telling you about this plan I have that's been working so well, and nothing fit it in the most perfect way this week, and that's the home dog market moving towards the home dog. If Jacksonville State was at home when it went from plus 4.5 to plus 3, they would have been the best bet, quality. Going over to the total here for this one, we have it sitting at 51.5 right now at Pinnacle. It opened up at 51.5. It's at 51.5. Let's move over to the cash flow for this one. And Razor Sharp Picks is at Delaware Park today. He'll be in the winner's circle most of the day. I love it. And Mike's saying that Tease is heading there as well. So we're going to have our guys over at Delaware Park. So drop by and have a drink with them if you can. From a cash flow standpoint here in our college football game this evening, I love midweek college football. 79% of the tickets are on Jacksonville State and 73% of the cash. So, yes, they're a public road dog, which is something that historically doesn't succeed, but at least the market's moving in their direction, right? At least the market is showing a sign that they're uncomfortable with it. And if you're going to make a move on the public road dog, you need to see that. From a total scenario, 86% of the tickets and 94% of the cash are on the under. That's a lot of money to be on the under. So we're at Johnny Red Floyd Stadium in Tennessee, 77 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 2 miles per hour is the wind. It's perfect weather. Jacksonville State Gamecocks 2-0 in conference, 4-1 on the year. And here is the Tennessee Blue Raiders, who are not only 0-1 in conference, but have yet to register a win against FBS competition this year. And that immediately made me only want to bet Middle Tennessee because so much is on the line for them. Now, look, the market move does concern me. Jacksonville State followed their 21-0 win at home over Eastern Michigan. We were all on them as 6.5-point favorites by heading to Sam Houston and defeating the Bearcats in overtime, 35-28. I did not think in any world that should be a 6.5-point favorite situation. Being at home against Eastern Michigan is so much easier than traveling to Houston and facing the Bearcats. And then now you have to travel yet again. What's happened for Jacksonville State since before that Eastern Michigan game is that the junior quarterback Logan Smothers has taken control of being the starting quarterback there. He's won the battle against Zion Webb, and he had his best game of his career. 16-28, 197 yards and 3 touchdowns. And again, they barely had the ball. So when they had the ball, they were moving and they were scoring. Middle Tennessee, after losing to Colorado State at home, 31-23, as 3.5-point favorites. And, you know, there was a time when that line against Colorado State dropped to 3. And I almost bet it because I thought that Colorado State might have some trouble after facing Colorado. And then it moved back to 3.5. And I didn't know what Colorado State was going to do. I didn't have a read on them, and then I let it go. And thank God, because Colorado State took care of business. They went into Middle Tennessee and beat them 31-23. Then we had Western Kentucky last week, and us working together as a team, we got on the under. We got on the under together. We saw that it made so much sense in that spot because it was 100 miles of hate, rivalry. And here we have Middle Tennessee that must win. They must win. Nice. King Seth going to be up there for a few races to link up with Razor. I love hearing that, King. Thank you for the happy birthday message from you, William. Thank you, guys. Take it away for us here, CMac. And again, they were 6.5-point dogs when they lost 31-10 in the 100 miles of hate. I mean, are we at the point now where people could be getting fired here? Take it away for us, CMac. This is a big one. Johnny Red Floyd Stadium.
Yeah, this is a big game for Middle Tennessee. Needs a win desperately. And there's a lot of love going around for Jacksonville State, you know, who hasn't really played anyone. Their strength of schedule is way down here. Middle Tennessee, I think, is top 20. Obviously, they played Bama. That Missouri game was close. Colorado State. And then last week, Western Kentucky. Jacksonville State, like you mentioned, they've gone away from Webb. They have Smothers at quarterback. I think that's the right move. They're going to want to run the ball. They can run the ball. Both these teams' offenses aren't great. You know, we're talking all numbers 80 and above, into the hundreds for these teams. Jacksonville State can run it. Middle Tennessee State gives up 140, so I think they're going to be able to run the ball in this game. I don't trust really the defenses. I don't think they're great. But I got to the total in this game as I stayed off. I think it gets down to 3. Not that I trust Middle Tennessee, but they desperately need a win. And I think it could be really close. So I'm going to stay off there. But this total to me was too high. We got the over with Jacksonville State. It got over, you know, in that last game. And I think it was a little bit of an anomaly. This team's gone under a ton its last 10. And at 52, I want the under in this game. I think this total is way too high.
Yeah, and it was a shocking over, right? I mean, the 35 that Jacksonville State put up was 2.5 points off the full game total against Sam Houston.
Middle Tennessee struggled, 10 points last week. I think they're a little bit better, but I think we have a good football game. And, if this gets crazy high scoring, I'll take it because, it's kind of at that key number, 51, 52 here, where I think you could stay under. If it does, it would just go over with a touchdown, something like that. I think we're just too high, with these two teams, these two offenses, and our defenses. We get under here.
Middle Tennessee right now -3 at -108 at Pinnacle. From a situational standpoint, and that's what makes college football so much fun, is you get to look at 70, 80 different situations instead of 14, 16 like you do in NFL. This is Middle Tennessee or no bet.
Yeah.
But I can't. I don't want to go up against this market move. I don't know if that will be long-term rewarding. Now, if I come back in 3 hours or 4 hours and see that this is back at 3.5 or even 4, then I might even on the worst line move on Middle Tennessee. The under we have Pinnacle leading the way, the sharpest book leading the way on that total. Same with Bookmaker, but there are 52s widely available. So under 52 at minus 108 over at Heritage. Oh, it's 52 at Bet365 as well. Under 52 at minus 108. I'm curious because, I'm going to be in the soup a little later tonight. And what do you think the situation if Jacksonville, if Western Kentucky went to Jacksonville State? What do you like this spread right now, or the spread when Western Kentucky went to Middle Tennessee was 6.5, and it was a rivalry game. What do you think, and what in your imagination would happen, sort of script wise, if it was Western Kentucky going to Jacksonville State?
I think they'd be a short favorite. I think 3. West Kentucky at Jacksonville State. Anywhere from a pick 'em to 3.
Wow. Okay. Well, and I'm telling you, like, if this line had moved in Tennessee's direction, this would have been a best bet. Situationally, I just think it's absolutely perfect bet. Robert Franklin agreeing with the under. Wine time on Jacksonville State plus 3.5 and the money line. Christopher Tatum betting Jacksonville State. We have not seen one person say Middle Tennessee, and there are jobs on the line. You can't do it. Middle Tennessee is a good program that's supposed to have a chance in conference this year.
Look, I think everyone's just a little bit Jacksonville State. Haven't really played anyone. They looked all right. Obviously, they're 4-1. One team's 1-4. But that's why they're favored here. This is why we do it in college football. We see teams like this, and that's why you're not betting. It's not easy to do, is to lay points with a team like this, especially a field goal over that with Middle Tennessee.
And Bet Chris 1 minute ago moved it to 3 from 3.5. So clearly the Jacksonville State's being hammered. So I can't do it. This system I've been using has been working, and we'll go over them with my best bets, but I can't do it here. Okay. So let me just say okay, no worries. So I've got to take over the graphics here. So let me just give me 1 second here so we can get rolling. All right, let's move on to the 9 p.m. game. We got Florida International Panthers 3-2, 0-2 in conference at the New Mexico State Aggies 2-3, 0-1 in conference. We're at Aggie Memorial Stadium. It's 81 Fahrenheit clear, 6 miles per hour. And there we go, Rocco Rogers. He's on Middle Tennessee State -3 at -115. So we have Rocco Rogers moving in. Gifted Cartel looking at it as well. Buck Nasty in the house. What up, Buck Nasty? Got to run with Buck Nasty, not only in LA, but also in Costa Rica. Thank you for dropping by, man. Means a ton. Nasty Nate says New Mexico smashes. New Mexico State Aggies, they have their tight end is our guy Nasty Nate's nephew. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one, the 9 p.m. game. Oh, thank God for these games for the sportsbook tonight, baby. We have New Mexico State at -6.5. They opened up at -4. That's a 2.5 point move towards them. And, I guess that is when did this move that? So it was in -6 this morning when I was looking at it, moved 2 points. Obviously that appeals to me. And this actually was sort of on a short list of spots that did correlate with the way I've been betting college football. This total opened up at 50 and has dropped down to, 50.5. It's dropped down to 48.5. When we get over to the cash flow for this one, You have 18% of the tickets and 21% of the cash on the over. The under is being hammered here. And from a spread perspective, you have 56% of the tickets on New Mexico State and just 46% of the cash. Interesting that the market's moving so drastically over here. Cody Norton says on Middle Tennessee money line and says he doesn't think either team scores 25. So that correlates perfectly with CMac's breakdown there. So let's talk about this spot. After wins at home over North Texas and on the road at UConn, FIU came crashing back to earth in a 38-6 loss at home to Liberty as 10-point dogs. FIU was outgained 520 to 211 in the loss. Then for New Mexico State, they beat their rivals, New Mexico, on the road at University Stadium as 2.5-point dogs. And then they traveled to Hawaii. And one of my best bets was Hawaii in that spot. I thought it was a bad spot for New Mexico State. And New Mexico State was up 17-0 at the half. And I thought for sure I was going to lose it. I still live bet it, but I thought for sure I was going to lose it. But they couldn't get the job done. Hawaii put up 20 points and, Cordero looked good. So here we go. Florida International, Mexico State. I'm hesitant. And the reason why this didn't make it for me is that FIU just got slapped in the face. And that's generally the situation where I want to back a team. Take it away for us, CMac, Florida International, Mexico State, New Mexico State.
They did, just get slapped in the face. I touched on it on Monday. Liberty, beat up on this same team, both these teams, beat up on New Mexico State. I think it was 33-17 or 38-17. FIU's bottom category, on offense. They're not very good on defense. New Mexico State's coming home. They haven't had a home game in over a month, like you mentioned. They go on the road to New Mexico. They go to Hawaii. They come back here. This seems like a really good spot for them, but I don't trust them to cover by a touchdown. I can't do it in this matchup. I think, FIU could hang around in this football game. And I thought they've looked better, New Mexico State. I thought that what happened to this defense early on, UMass kind of gashed them, where the last 3 or 4 weeks, and that's why I leaned to the under. This has already gone down, though. I'm not going to move on it now, but I think it's a solid look at 48.5. New Mexico has that better offense. I do think they control it. But for some reason, I think, FIU could just hang around, in this game. But I don't want that side either. I just don't want the points with them. I lean under. I think this is kind of an ugly game.
I do too. And last year was my best college football season, and I just stuck to everything having to correlate. And the issue here for me is that I kind of like FIU to come in sharp after what Liberty just did to them. I agree with Robert Franklin saying losing to a good Liberty team is not as bad as it looks. I can understand Andrew G saying FIU can't stop the run game, but it's just not enough for me. It's just not enough for me. And when I'm looking at sort of if I want to add anything to the Phillies to kind of raise the stakes on that action, which, it's just something I would do because I'm, celebrating, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to think like that. It's not, this is a business. And just because I'm, celebrating in a casino, that doesn't mean that, but this wouldn't interest me. What would interest me a little bit is Middle Tennessee, but it doesn't correlate either. And there's no point in reaching here. So the under 52 at -108 for CMac. I really like the idea. And, I forget who talked about it in the chat, but it was a really, really great statement. And it was before the Sam Houston game. They said this Houston defense has been on the field for 40 minutes a game, has played so hard, is getting pummeled into the ground, is doing they're exhausted. And it sure has looked like that over the last 2 games. And just because Jacksonville State gashed what we thought was a really strong defense in the Bearcats, it doesn't mean it's just going to happen again when everything's on the line for the Blue Raiders. So I like that CMac dropped the under 52 at minus 108 there. Pimp slot play of the day is the teaser, Jacksonville State plus 9.5 and the under 59. And then Brown Hughes says, how about the Phillies money line, New Mexico State money line parlay up? Yeah, I get it. I don't know if it adds enough to it. Personally, I don't, when you're going to add something to a parlay, you got to say, is this worth the risk? And then look at the line without it and look at the line with it and say, is that difference worth the risk? And look at the implied probability and all those factors. So, you'll have to make that call on your own.
Yeah.
Here.
I think New Mexico State can win here at home. Yeah. If you want to just go money line. Yeah, I'm not laying it for sure.
All right, that is the Wednesday night breakdown. Let's get into Saturday best bets. I loved doing this last week. This will be every Wednesday here on our show. We'll cut it out, so it'll go. I'll either have Big Ragu or CMac here for Wednesday college football best bets, and the Pimp Slot play of the day is here as well. Tampa Bay under 8 is the Pimp Slot play of the day. So let's pop that in right here. The Tampa Bay under 8 is the Pimp Slot play of the day, and that is locked in. And Real American says FIU plus 10.5 and the under 53.5 gets you to plus 120. So let me get this up. All right, let's get to our Saturday college football best bets with Conor Mac. And let's get right to work. We have 5 games, and we've got you locked down from 12 p.m. kickoff to 10:30 p.m. Eastern, the final game on the slate. These 5 games will cover your entire day. The first 2 early spots are my best bets. The 3 late spots are for CMac. The dab father in the house, thank you for the kind words. Thank you, Kelly McInnes. So let's get to work, and we start for me with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights 4-1, 1-1 in the Big Ten at Wisconsin, 3-1, 1-0 in the Big Ten. We're at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, and it starts to get a little colder. I mean, it's still 50 Fahrenheit, but it's 14 mile per hour wind. The heat wave is we expect up here to be the last one of the year, really. So things are going to get colder, and the weather will become more of an issue. More inclement weather as we move forward. Let's get into the line history of Rutgers whiskey. And we're sitting here with this total at 43.5. This opened up at 47. And this last move from 44.5 to 43.5 happened 23 minutes ago at Pinnacle. So this total continues to drop. It's now at 43.5. So you have to ask yourself, do you want a 2-touchdown favorite with a total this low? And my answer is yes. Yes, I do. Now, it's moved to 13.5. It moved to 13.5 at 11:12 this morning. So that is a bad sign for me because when I bet this, I looked at what it would cost me for 13.5. And it was minus 119, and I didn't want to spend that. So I took the minus 14 at minus 101 at even money. But this isn't, this makes me uncomfortable seeing this move that's happened in the last, hour and a half or so. Let's get to the cash flow here for this one. Again, this is the 12 p.m. Eastern start, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. And everybody, according to our info, is on Rutgers. 85% of the tickets and 88% of the cash is on Rutgers. But this line opened at 12.5. It opened up at 12.5, got up to 14, and now we've seen a little bit of buyback. And again, these are Pinnacle openers. On the total, we have 91% of the tickets and 92% of the cash on the under, and we've seen it move from 47 down to 43.5. There's my guy, Ick Schnizzle, in the house. It's great to see you, Ick Schnizzle.
Ick. What up, my man?
So, after a strong start, which saw the Scarlet Knights win by double digits at home over Northwestern, Temple, and Virginia Tech, Rutgers went into Michigan and lost 31-7 as 24-point dogs. There's no harm in that. It's tough to go over to the big house and play. Last week, they had a gift matchup at home against FCS Wagner, winning 52-3 as 46-point favorites. I have been successfully fading teams after cupcake matchups. Gavin Wimsatt is being decent. He's not making mistakes, but he's not throwing for a lot of yards. He doesn't have weapons surrounding him. And when they play elite level defenses, they have a real struggle moving the ball. On the other side of things, after a tough loss at Washington State, Wisconsin came home and soundly beat Georgia Southern 35-14 as 20.5-point favorites. I think we've seen that Georgia Southern is a good football team. And what Wisconsin does is the same thing that they did to Purdue. They beat Purdue 38-17 on the road as 5.5-point favorites, is they slowly wear these teams down. They are bigger and stronger, and not of all teams, but of these two and of Rutgers. You know, they're going to be teams that can mess with them size-wise, but they slowly wear these teams down, and they dominate second halves. Now they come in off their bye. So that's up to you to say, are they going to be sharp early? I mean, those are up to you as a capper to make those decisions. But Luke Fickell will have them ready to go. I think they're going to have fresh legs. He's an intense dude. They're going to completely take over the second half. So Tanner Mordecai, the transfer from SMU, he's delivering. Now, you could say, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, averaging 219 yards per game. That's not enough. Look, I get it. But he's smart, and he's a leader, and he's older, and I trust him. In 2021, these teams met. Wisconsin won 52-3. Look, we know Rutgers is a much better football team than they were there. Wisconsin is 4-0 against Rutgers since this series kicked off in 2014. And I am on Wisconsin. And if the score is 10-7 at half or something like that, where Wisconsin's not dominating, then I will live bet them because they're going to wear Rutgers down and cover. And I don't know where Rutgers and how Rutgers is going to score. Take it away for us, CMac. This is my first best bet of our 5 games here, Rutgers, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I think if you like Rutgers, take them first half. I think it could be similar to the Michigan game here, and you just brought it up, Jamie, where they wear them down and pull away in the second half. And it was only 14-7, first half of that Michigan game, and they just wore them down in the second half. Let's get to it. And one other game we talked about in Wisconsin, Purdue, how Wisconsin has just owned them. This is another one, not as much, but you just talked about it. Five, the last 5, they've taken care of them. I remember all these, so it's definitely on my radar that has happened. I don't know if Gavin Wimsatt could go in there, and really throw it around on this Wisconsin team in this one. I do have a little bit of. He doesn't have to do it a whole lot like you talked about, because I'm not a huge fan of Tanner Mordecai. He's made some mistakes, and I think if only he has some really bad mistakes, that Rutgers could be in this game. But I think they can wear it down. I think he needs to run it a little bit more. And I think this is normally the year. I wasn't that high on Wisconsin. Obviously, I had Washington State, but similar in those games, they pulled away from Georgia Southern, like you mentioned, pulled away from Purdue. I'm just not going to lay the points with Wisconsin. I'm just not going to do it, but I get why you are making the move here.
Yeah, the numbers and tickets have been all over Rutgers.
They see him as this dog, a huge double-digit dog. They're on the road, which I don't love, and they've been good against the number. They've been good to bettors this year. Rutgers. So people are all over that,
Yeah, and they've been all over them. And now the market is starting to follow here. The plus 13.5 is juiced now. And look, that concerns me. But the move from 12.5 to 14, when we had 90% of the tickets in cash on Rutgers, was important to me. And the market's moving back to Rutgers right now, and we'll see how that works out.
And we'll see if Rutgers, it's defense. People are, it's so early on. I touched on it. It's like now we're getting into the games here. Jamie. No more of the cupcakes. You know, when we get to week 5 or 6, you start to see it. The competition is a little bit better. And some people think the Rutgers defense is real, and the number is dropping. But these games have gone over, and this weirdly could have more points. You know, and you probably don't mind that if Wisconsin, pounds them.
It's a big drop down to 43.5 from that 47. So there you go. That's game number 1. Let's move on to game number 2. The North Texas Mean Green 2-2. Their first game in the American at Navy Midshipman 1-3, 0-2. This is 0-2 in conference right now. This is a very angry Navy squad. We're in Annapolis for the 65 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 14 miles per hour. Thank you, Fat Cat Ninja, my friend. Here we go. Let's get into the line history here for this one. 3:30 p.m. action, and then CMac games are the late slate. We are sitting here with Navy at -6. They opened up at -4.5, and money started pouring on them immediately. It went from 4.5 to 5.5 in about 3.5 hours or 4 hours. Then it moved to 6 the following morning. Then an hour after that, or 2 hours after that, it moved to 6.5. And minutes after that, it moved to 7. All of the early money poured in on Navy. Now, it only lasted at 7, for about 25 minutes. Dropped to 6.5, and now is at 6. Still, we have a move towards Navy. Let's get into the total for this spot here. Sorry, give me a second. Here we go. 3:30 p.m. action. And here we go. This total is sitting at 61.5. It opened up at 60.5. It got up to 61.5, dropped to 60, and then it's now back up to 61.5. We'll go over to the cash flow for this one. We have on the total, 70% of the tickets and 94% of the cash are on the over. And look, I know North Texas can't play D. But the market doesn't seem too concerned about it. From the spread perspective, it's North Texas versus Navy. So we're talking about 426 bets in. Not a lot of bets. But 93% of the tickets and 98% of the cash are on North Texas. This is very similar to the Wisconsin game. All of the tickets, all of the cash on Rutgers there. Lines moving towards Wisconsin. All of the tickets, all of the money on North Texas. The line's moving towards Navy. We'll start with North Texas. After a 58-21 loss at home to Cal to start the season, and Cal just completely ran over them. I mean, it was just North Texas was incapable of stopping anything on the ground. North Texas went to FIU and lost 46-39 as 10.5-point favorites. I mean, at that point, you had to know that North Texas had been rated too high in the offseason expectations. They followed that up with another road game, and they defeated La Tech, first win of the year, 40-37 as 4.5-point dogs. Again, North Texas had been embarrassed and slapped in the face, and they came back and they showed out. We think that FIU is in a similar situation, but we're not getting in the way of the market move there. Then they came home and beat FCS Abilene Christian as 15.5-point favorites. They didn't cover. They allowed 31 points to Abilene Christian. Their defense is awful. Chandler Rogers is good. 7 touchdowns, 1 pick. He's completing 62.2% of his passes. They have 4 different guys that have rushed for over 100 yards. They have a multifaceted running game attack. Adei Ayo is, their leader there. But they have Oscar Attaway. They have receivers in Jamori Macklin and Roderick Burns that are very strong. Nobody's here questioning North Texas's offense. It's their defense that is absolutely atrocious and so vulnerable. And the question is, do you have an expectation of an angry team coming in focused that is going to take advantage of this weak defense? Do you have an angry team that can be capable of slowing down this strong offense? And my answers are yes. I'm on Navy at -6. They've yet to beat FBS competition this year. On September 14th, we saw who they really were when they went to Memphis. You know, they had just played an FCS squad. They won 24-0. I believe it was Wagner. I can't remember who it was, but they didn't show them anything from the playbook. They kept it all for the Memphis game. The market moved towards Navy before the Memphis game, and they lost 28-24 as 12.5-point dogs. They followed that up with a very disappointing 44-30 loss at home to USF as 4-point favorites. And that was off their bye week. This week, they're going to take out all of their frustrations on an extremely weak North Texas defense. Ty Lavatai has, not been getting the job done, but he's not making mistakes. And Alex Texa is, 39 carries, 291 rush yards. I just think this is the perfect spot situationally for what has been hitting at my best ROI ever this year on a side where everything correlates. Now, would I prefer that these were home dogs that all this correlated with instead of home favorites? Yes, but it still correlates. Take it away for us, CMac, North Texas Navy.
Yeah, let's get right to it. Last week, I really liked South Florida. They took it to Navy. One thing I got to get off, because I think they've won, so it might be different, but it's like 4-15 or 3-15 Navy straight up at home. The last 2 or 3 years, they just haven't won at home. It's just they have not been good here, and they lost last week. Now this is a team they could take advantage of. This is a lot of points, but I think you could get over the number because you just talked about it. North Texas can't stop a nosebleed, but they can move the football. And this Navy defense has shown it's all right. It can give up some points and some big plays. I think Navy might win. I couldn't lay the 6 points in this game. Not that I'm really rushing to North Texas either, but I just think we see a lot of points here, and this could be close.
I'm very excited about these two spots. Whiskey at noon and Navy at 3:30. These are the only spots that I'm on. There's our guy, Bernie, in the house. Razor Sharp Picks, Dad. What a great guy he is, supporting all these shows and supporting his son, who leads by example in our community. You raised a great boy, Bernie, and thank you for stopping by in the chat, man. We love you. Those are my best bets. Let's move over to CMac. We start at 8 p.m. Eastern. We have Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 2-3, 1-1 in the ACC, and number 17th ranked Miami Hurricanes 4-0, getting their ACC schedule started. We're in Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. 82 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5 miles per hour. Let's move over to the line history here on this one. Get over to the 8 p.m. slate, and here we go. First off, from a total perspective, we are sitting at 57.5. This is another total that's dropped. It opened up at 60, and it got all the way down to 56.5. That was the low point yesterday. Since then, there's been 1 point of buyback up to 57.5. Let's get over to the spread for this one, and we have these Miami Hurricanes sitting at minus 21. They opened up at minus 20.5. It's dropped a half point to minus 21, but this 21 is juiced towards Georgia Tech. Let's get into the cash flow here. We have 60% of the tickets on Miami and 31% of the cash. So we have had some bigger bets on the Yellow Jackets. And then, sorry, let me get back to them. I've got it set up now for all markets. Then on the total, you have 89% of the tickets and 87% of cash on the over, and yet it's dropping. It's dropping fast. So after winning at Wake Forest 30-16 as 3.5 point dogs, the Yellow Jackets were completely embarrassed last week. I mean, it was a debacle of enormous proportions. Bowling Green takes them out and puts up 38 on the board. It was so bad that their DC Andrew Thacker was demoted and Kevin Scherer was named the sole defensive coordinator. This is a squad that's 103rd in the nation in points allowed. The Miami Hurricanes are off to a great start to the season. We see a different quarterback. We see a competent coach. After wins over Miami of Ohio, Texas A&M, and then FCS Bethune-Cookman, Miami traveled to Temple. And the spot for Temple from the market and the line movement side actually had Temple on the short list. But I thought, what an easy opportunity for Cristobal to pump up his team because it was their first road game of the year. And I should have flipped at that point. Once I took it off, I should have realized, oh no, they're going to have motivation. And that's what you need from a big favorite. I can't wait to hear your breakdown, CMac. There's so many moving parts in this one. Take it away, Georgia Tech, Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, there is. This Georgia Tech team just got embarrassed. And this is where I look at, like last week, I knew this team couldn't stop anyone, and they shouldn't be laying any of those points, you know. And Bowling Green had got slapped the week before, and I pushed on that under. It was 45. I didn't get the 46 against Ohio. Yeah, you mentioned all the defensive ranks here with Georgia Tech, just last, you know, and just about a ton of categories. 116, 115, you know, 124. The rushing, 131. You have the most. Miami, you know, as they get going, this is just one game, but are they for real? We've seen this though before. You know, Van Dyke's looked unreal where they started 4-5-0, and they're back. The U's back. And I think they could get by in this game. They're going to be able to score points in this one. But I think Georgia Tech with Haynes King can score. And they have playmakers. They do have their receiver that might still be out. He was out against Bowling Green. I think Williams and Lane, they were both out. I think they might be back. But they have some playmakers at receiver. I think they're going to be able – this Miami defense has looked pretty good, but I don't know. I think Georgia Tech can hang around in this football game. I'm taking the points. And I know this is dropped. I don't mind it. As long as it wasn't 60 and above, give me the over, 57 here.
Georgia Tech and the over. It's clear to me that, you know, I know it's moved from 20.5 to 21, but Georgia Tech is a sharp side here after the embarrassment from the idea of what is a team capable of after getting completely embarrassed. That's the side I want to bet on. And you have it with Georgia Tech. And now you have this Hurricanes team feeling so good about themselves. That motivation factor isn't there. Now, that's not fully fair for me to say, but that's what I think. I don't think the motivation factor is there for them against this minnow. I know Georgia Tech's still a big school, but I like what you're doing here. Let's get your lines here for record-keeping purposes. You were going to add something there, CMac.
Oh, no, I think they have the athletes to move the football, and it's shown. You know, they got away a little bit. I think it was a 25-point loss to Ole Miss. We're right there, got over. You know, Wake's not very good, but they beat them. They lost by 5 to Louisville. You know, and another one. There's going to be points. So I'm a little. They think maybe the defense, you know, like, of course, gets it together, maybe. But I had to add the over. This one was too obvious.
The over 57 flat is available at
flat. Yep.
And Bookmaker.
Perfect.
Over 57 at -110, and Georgia Tech plus 21 at -111. I can hear Ella as we took her out of school early. She's pumped up for the casino.
Yes.
I love it, man. Big pool there. She's pumped up to cross the border. So we have CMac in doubling up Georgia Tech plus 21 at -111, the over 57 at -110. Let's take a look at and Robert Franklin giving us a final score of 48-20. So he still thinks that Miami covers, but I'm very, very interested in your spot here. And I love it. And this is part of the fun of doing these shows is that I get to add action. It does correlate to a lot of what I think about the spot. And man, 41% of the tickets, 69% of the cash on a team that just got embarrassed by Bowling Green. I mean, that's so appealing to me. Okay, let's move on to the next spot on the board here for us. And I'll tell you straight up that just so you guys know that San Jose State, Boise State was going to be a part of my action. But in the end, I felt that Boise State was too public. There had been a slight move back to San Jose State, and I decided not that I wasn't going to bet it, and we cut that from the show. Let's move on to the next spot here for CMac. Number 15th ranked Oregon State Beavers. We got Pac-12 action for these last two games for our West Coast college football cappers. Oregon State Beavers 4-1, 1-1 in the Pac-12 at the California Golden Bears 3-2, also 1-1 in the Pac-12. We're at California Memorial Stadium in Berkeley, 76 Fahrenheit, clear, 9 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history here. This total sitting at 51.5. It opened up at 53, a 1.5 point move towards the under. Let's get into the side here. Let's get into the side here for this spot. We have it sitting at 9.5. Oregon State opened up at 10, is now at 9.5. Go over to the cash flow for this one. We have no information on the total. None. We know that it's dropped from 53 to 51.5, but we're not getting any information on the cash flow for the total. We do know that with just under 5,000 tickets in, everybody's betting Oregon State. 98% of the tickets, 98% of the cash, and yet this has gotten off that number of 10. Oregon State bounced back from their tight 38-35 loss at Washington State by beating Utah 21-7 at home as 4-point favorites. They held the Utes offense to just 198 total yards. On the other side of things, you guys know one of my first best bets of the year was Cal against Auburn. Cal should have won that game by more than a touchdown, but they just made mistake after mistake. They still covered, but Auburn won that game at home. Then Cal loses badly at Washington. They lose 59-32. We know what the Huskies are this year. Cal came home to beat Arizona State 24-21. But again, 13-point favorites. It was a very underwhelming victory. As 13-point favorites at home, they were outgained by Arizona State 430-326. Take it away, CMac. I can't wait to hear your plan. Oregon State, Cal Golden Bears.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. I think it's good. There wasn't more than me last week that liked Oregon State. We talked about it. I got on the under, which was good. I didn't think Utah really could move the ball, especially away from home, with the backup quarterback in. After now that great win, they head to the road here in a place where they've had trouble, a lot of trouble over the last few years. Even games that they've won, except you have to go back to 2013 where they won and covered. Either they've lost outright or Cal's covered in this matchup. This is a homecoming game for Cal. Wilcox is a touchdown or more. Dog is 17-4. It was 17-3 last year. They played Oregon, 17.5 point dogs. I was on them. They lost by 18. So I remember it still as I went through my notes last night. One thing, Cal, they've had a bunch of turnovers that killed them against Washington. That was on the road. But they're at home now, and they've had tops in the country in their defense, at least turning the ball over. And that's what they'll need here, Jimmy. They're going to need Oregon State and DJ maybe have a pick, fumble. Oregon State is the better team. But this is, at night, at Berkeley, everything lines up for me. I don't think there's a 10 out there. I really wanted that, obviously. But I'm on Cal in this matchup. Jackson needs to be okay in this game. I think he will be. You mentioned it. This is a team you want nothing to do with, and I look for, like last week with Arizona State. They're big favorites. There's no way you want to bet Cal, as a double-digit favorite. Everyone's going to be on Oregon State, and they could easily go in there and handle this. But I'm on the Golden Bears here. I mean, plus 9.5. I lean under on this total. There have been some higher scoring games the last few times. I'm just going to stay off, but that's my initial lean on this total. would be the under as well.
Good God, I like this breakdown.
I was with you, on that Auburn game too, and Auburn should have lost.
Oh my God, it was so frustrating. Thank God they covered by the final by a point, but we got in at 6.5. They won by 4. But I don't know about you guys, but you guys know that I don't tail it. I don't tail. It's just it has to correlate with my action. And this breakdown actually gave me goosebumps. I'm not joking, knowing that I'm going to have more action. And also, I want late night, Saturday night action so badly, but I don't force it. But I want it so badly. I love this look. I just want to see here if what the 10 would cost here, just out of my own curiosity here. But the 10 right now is minus 113 at Pinnacle. It's nice. Do you want the minus 113 plus 10 for record keeping purposes?
Yeah, give me the 10 for on here. I'll see if I can
cut the 3 cents.
But I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. Oh
God, I like this. Good God, I like that. God, these are spots that the reason why it didn't make the short list that I was creating is because the market wasn't moving towards them. But 98% of the tickets are on Oregon State, so so at least the line's not moving at that point. That's all you want.
Yeah.
So, wow.
I had a feeling everyone's going to be on Oregon State.
So, do you agree with Ronnie then that maybe we should wait?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on here right now. I want the 10.
Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, that's up to you. I wait. If I could get a number early, I do in a few games. I talked about, I took the under in the Bama, and that moved down, which I like. But I kind of like to wait a little bit until, night before or even early in the morning, day of, on these college football games. Same thing with the NFL. Get in early on good numbers. But other games where I'm waiting to bet, I'd rather wait and get as much info, everything,
Wow. Georgia Tech and Cal are extremely appealing sides here. Let's talk about the final spot on the board here. The final spot on the board, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, Arizona Wildcats. So this is not only the final spot on the board, but it's the final spot of our 5-game best bet slate. Arizona Wildcats 3-2, 1-1 in the Pac-12 at number 9 ranked USC Trojans 5-0, 3-0 in the Pac-12. We're at Memorial Coliseum, Los Angeles, California. Perfect weather for football. 77 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 2 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Start with the side. Bet Chris has moved this to 22. Pinnacle has kept it at minus 21.5 for the Trojans, although it's moved 9 cents in their direction. Also, that 9-cent move did not exist. This had been out for 3 days, and there'd be no move at Pinnacle. This move happened at 10:11 this morning. So we had our first 10:11 Eastern. So our first sign of a move towards the Trojans. Let's get into the total here with this one. Here we go. From a total scenario, we are sitting at 71. Will Hill is at 72, but Pinnacle is at 71. This was at 72. It moved to 71 yesterday morning at 10:49. Let's go over to the cash then for our final spot on the board. We have 92% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the over. Then we have 49% of the tickets and 78% of the cash on Arizona. Big bets have come in on Arizona, and Robert Franklin saying he already has Arizona in his pocket at plus 21.5. So for Arizona, that was an extremely underwhelming victory at Stanford as 13-point favorites a couple weeks back. 21-20 against a very weak Cardinal squad. Then they came home to face a very tough Washington team, losing 31-24 as 20-point dogs. That was impressive. USC has also played Stanford. They didn't beat them 21-20. They beat them 56-10. Of course, there's a difference. The Arizona was at Stanford, and USC played them at home. Then USC traveled to Arizona State, beat them 42-28. And then last week, of course, we watched and it was the showcase game for CMac and Dabby Cab. USC traveled to Colorado and defeated them 48-21 as 22-point favorites. North Ender says USC always open to give up the backdoor covers with that defense. Mal says these totals are ridiculous, and Wine Time said that plus 21.5 is already in his pocket as well. Take it away, CMac. Wildcats, Trojans, Pac-12 action to close out our Saturday evening.
Yeah, another late one here for me. Arizona, I've been on them all year. I was on Stanford in that game. Delore goes down. Noah Fafita comes in 4 for 4. They eke that game out. X-Kid's a pretty good quarterback. Delore could throw it, but I was talking about, he kind of looks like Russell Wilson, when he was younger. He's only like 5'10" or 11, but he can move and he can throw it. And I think he looked great. They were at home against Washington. I like the points there. SC's back at home. There's going to be a ton of points. They're going to be able to score in Arizona, but I think Arizona is feisty in this game. This is too many points, like everyone mentioned. Not only the back door's open, I think it's open. I think they cover this number in this game. Last year at Arizona, 45-37, Arizona's 14-point dogs. 2021, I remember going back to that game. Same. They're 22-point dogs. They lost 41-34. I see just similar. We see fireworks. We see points. This SC defense can't stop really anything. They have real problems there. I get they're at home. They could maybe run away with that if there's a bunch of mistakes made. But even at that, I think, like a couple of people mentioned the back door's open, but I think they're more in this game, Jimmy. So give me the 22 or 21.5. That's all you have.
No, 22s are available still at minus 110. Plus 22 at minus 110. Coin was at Folsom Field. Wow. So it was in person for that game that you live streamed on Saturday. Wow. What a special spot that is. Kong's clip note on USC first half and the first half over and the first half team total over. I mean,
that's cashed. I bet it. I bet SC overs, team totals, first halves, and I get it. They'll be able to move the ball. This Arizona defense, I think, could make a couple plays. They're not awful, and offensively, I know they can move the ball on this. All the numbers that I showed, they can move it. And look at SC's defense. We're starting to see it after these last few games, Jimmy. They're creeping into the hundreds. 84, 93, 105, 119, especially against the pass. He'll be able to run around. I don't know if Delore goes. I don't think it matters. They're kind of similar, these quarterbacks, but I think they're in this football game.
I love your action. What fun bets here from CMac, all a West Coast late night, Saturday night action that we all crave to have on our card. Love it. Let's review all action here on our college slate of best bets. We have Wisconsin. It's down to minus 13. I got minus 14 at even money. I'm on Wisconsin. Navy minus 6 in Annapolis. They're a very, very angry Navy squad, and I think they roll. Then we have Georgia Tech from CMac at plus 21 and the over 57 in Georgia Tech Miami Hurricanes. I love the idea after getting embarrassed that they'll come to play against a really tough squad. And I think the motivation factor is very different for Miami. I could see it from a coaching perspective in their first road game of the year, but now they come home 4-0 against a real weak Yellow Jacket squad. Then CMac is on Cal plus 10 and minus 113. I love that look in Berkeley, and Arizona plus 22 at minus 110. And that is our Saturday best bets in college football. We have added action for tonight from CMac. He's on the under 52 in Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee at minus 108. I'm going to keep watching that market because I'd love to get in on Middle Tennessee, but I do want to see some concern from the books. And then we've stayed off FIU, Mexico State. We've stayed off of that. Then and the pimp slap play. The pimp slap play today is two different things. The birthday pick is from Mikey M is Jacksonville State plus 9.5 in the under 59. That's the teaser. And then it's the under 8 in the Jays game. in baseball today, Jose's on the Rangers first 5 at plus 127. He's on the first 5 under 4 in Toronto, Tampa, and the pimp slot play of the day is the under 8. The spreadsheet play today is the Twins at minus 132, and Londo's big booty Latina play of the day is the over 7.5. We've stayed off of the Diamondbacks Brewers spot. CMac RBI on Bohm at plus 155. Justin McElvey stacks play today is Trey Turner over 1.5 bases. And thank you guys so much for the kind words. You know, life is funny, and there's a cycle of life, you know, with death and living, and our friend who we love so much, Jose Bouquet, his grandfather just died, and he had to leave the show. So if you can reach out to Jose and just tell him that you care about him, and that you're there for him, even when we have older relatives that we know are going to die, and we know that they're sick, and we know that it's still, when it happens, it hurts. It hurts really badly. So let's not end the show on some sort of happiness, some sort of, because our thoughts are with Jose Bouquet's family, and thinking about him right now. So let's just end the show. I also don't think that we need all of the music and rah rah to end the show either. So what I will do is thank you so much, CMac, for being a part of this show, and thank you to everybody in the chat so much for being a part of this show. And if you want to do me, give me a birthday gift, just tell Jose that we love him, we care about him, and we're so sorry that him and his family have to go through this. So if you could just wish him some love and some strength, that'd be the way I'd like to finish the show. So thank you, CMac, and thank you to everybody in the chat. And we are going to just close this up right now. So thank you.